Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. My name is Nick Bryant, and I'm very pleased this morning to be with Richard Smith from Eyemasters. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
You too. Thank you for asking me to come in. It's a pleasure to be here. So, a little bit of background on Eyemasters. They specialise in dispensing unusual and regular optical frames with prescription lenses of all types to consumers who bring in their prescriptions. Now, there's a really cool quote on your website that says, "The frames you choose are part of your identity. Look for exceptional, not average." Now, I've seen your frames on lots of faces in the networking meetings we've been to, and they are exceptional, I must say. But tell us your story, Richard. Tell us how you got into doing this and how you are right where you are.
Well, in 1975, I applied for a job. A company I was working for, Optrex, were taken over by a German pharmaceutical combine who wanted to take it into consumerist direction, if you like.
Okay.
So I looked around for another job and found one in the Telegraph with Bausch and Lomb. They wanted people to sell instruments to opticians. And I thought, well, I'm doing drugs to chemists, instruments to opticians. What's the difference?
Yeah, right.
So I got there, and 2 weeks later they said, well, we don't want you to do instruments. We want you to sell lenses to lens-making laboratories.
Okay.
And I thought, what do I know about lenses? Not very much. And we had an essential training course. And I found subsequently that 2 weeks into this, I thought, I really, really get this.
Yeah, right, okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed the industry,
Yeah.
the people I met, and it really went from there. So I spent 20 years in the manufacturing, selling ophthalmic lenses, lens-making equipment, so I got to know a bit about it.
Right, okay. You said to me last week in an email that optical lenses is an esoteric speciality, which is quite a precise way of saying it. Why do you say that?
Well, because a lot of people, they really don't have much knowledge on lenses generally. And people say to me, well, what you're doing is really quite strange. I said, well, having all that experience I made lenses. 4 of us owned a lens-making factory in Hampshire in the 1970s.
Right.
So that was in the days of glass.
Yeah.
We used to make a lot of glass lenses.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's all plastic. But when you have that sort of knowledge, if you like, it's a great shame to waste it. So... I just really enjoy doing it. So
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's amazing actually how it's changed and how that glasses used to be literally glass, isn't it?
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
99% was glass.
Yeah.
1% was plastic. Now it's the other way around.
Yeah, right.
I probably do 1 or 2 pairs of glass lenses a year.
Is there?
That's all.
It's like the old days when you were at school and your friend falls over and they got cracks on their glasses. You don't see that anymore, do you?
Yeah, no. The whole industry's changed enormously.
Yeah.
So, and what I do is, I guess it's unusual.
Yeah. Now, you work from here, which is a home setup, which is really lovely. When people come here, do they need to make an appointment, or how does that work?
Yeah, they certainly do.
Okay.
Everything is by appointment.
Yeah.
I have no shop sign outside, so if you don't know I'm here, you don't know I'm here.
Yeah.
You won't see anything to say. There's no sign outside saying what I do.
Yeah.
And that's deliberate. That's the way I like it.
It makes you quite exclusive then, doesn't it?
Well, what happens is you can give people time. I'm very happy to give people 2 hours of my time if that's what they need.
Yeah.
That will be a pretty long appointment, but sometimes it happens because you have to wear this for 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
And what I can't stand is buyer's remorse. So a lot of people come in and say, I never liked these frames. And I say, well, why'd you buy them?
Yeah.
And the truth is they lost the will to live. Yeah. They wanted to get out and...
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that they wear something really nice that suits their personality. And of course, people will then say, well, where did you get your glasses?
Yeah.
Which is lovely.
And that works. We do a bit of networking together, don't we? And lots of people that, as I said earlier, wear the glasses in the networking meeting and they say, yeah, I got these from Richard. Everyone says, God, great glasses. Yeah, I got them from Richard. Do people buy frames and glasses for different situations in their life or different occasions or...
Sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of people, for example, by giving people a lot of time, you actually find out what it is that upsets them about not being able to see properly.
Okay.
And I call it eating spaghetti with chopsticks. It's not an easy thing to do, but eventually if you give people enough time, they will tell you, if they drive a lot, for example, we have lens solutions for that.
Yeah.
Many of us now are what I call screen jockeys. We're sat there looking at computer screens, phones.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of thing, sat-nav, television. And if people do that for a living, we have particular occupational lenses to solve that problem as well. So give people enough time, and then you find out where they should spend the money.
Yeah.
So rather than being target-driven by a head office, for example, I can actually satisfy the requirement.
Okay.
and that takes time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I really like doing that part of it too. So you have the frame aspect, and that should suit the personality.
Yeah.
Some people can carry pretty extreme stuff.
Yeah.
Other people want what I call dull, tragic, and boring.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And the lenses to go with it. So yeah, it's an all-round thing.
Because there is a fashion element to it, isn't there? Do you think? Or
Yeah. Well, I don't actually follow fashion at all, because this all depends on the head.
Okay.
And the personality.
Yeah.
So there are various head shapes. So what sort of personality do you have? Can you carry something interesting and colourful? Do you want to carry something interesting and colourful?
Yeah.
Some people just don't. They want to just drop into the background, basically. So it just depends. No, fashion, I don't carry heavy branded material.
Okay.
Because inevitably you wind up paying too much money for a frame.
Right.
Just to carry a logo.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
And that's a different market for you as well, isn't it? That's like kind of the Spec Saver, all those kind of guys. It's a different marketplace.
Totally. They're very successful businesses. That's great. But
Yeah.
it's not something I'm
there for the numbers, which isn't. Yeah.
So
tell us about the frames that you use or the lenses that you use. Where do you get them from? How does that work?
Well, I visit there's a big trade show in Paris every year, the Silmo trade show. I tend to have I've got suppliers in Germany, France, Italy, all over Spain.
Okay.
Because a lot of people find the normal high street offer pretty generic.
Yeah.
Every optician is selling very similar stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something a little different, because people actually are asking for different things. So I visit my suppliers there once a year and spend some money.
Yeah.
And that's where I get my frames from, because a lot of people say, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah.
And lenses I send away to a wholesale lab in Wiltshire.
Okay.
I've known him for many, many years, and he does a fine job. So I get quality work, and it works very well.
Yeah. Do you get involved in contact lenses? Or?
No, not at all. No. That's another speciality, and I'm not qualified.
Okay, right. That's why. Yeah. And a question that we was going to ask was about all different kinds of lens types.
Yeah.
Should we run through those?
Sure.
Yeah.
Essentially, you have single vision lenses, which does what it says on the tin. It
Yeah.
just has one focus, basically. And you have the old-fashioned bifocal.
Yeah.
So you have
top and the bottom.
the segment and line across that. So, and of course, mostly varifocal. Varifocal's now 65% probably of what I do.
Right. Okay.
So, because you get three focal lengths, you get distance, you get intermediate arm's length.
Yeah.
Typically, where you look at a computer screen.
Yeah.
And reading as well.
Yeah.
So that is the lens of choice for most people.
Okay.
But we can, I can offer all sorts of different materials.
Yeah. And people's eyes change over years, don't they? Their prescriptions change. So
absolutely.
Sometimes, when they can't see far away, suddenly as you get older, you've got to do this bit.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. So we can do really all sorts of different lenses. The lens industry is very interesting, because the sheer different technical specifications. You reach a certain point in a prescription where you then have to change index of material to make the lens thinner. Yeah. All that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And of course, because of my sort of manufacturing and sales background, I understand where to do that.
You specialise in that.
Yeah.
What about the pricing strategy? How does that work?
I have a fixed menu of pricing.
Okay.
So I don't care if you're the King of England or whoever you are. This is a transparent, properly priced. Every frame is priced. So I would sell a pair of varifocals for XXX. And it's all on an A4 sheet, all printed out, so you know exactly that what you're going to pay. Okay,
and the frames, it's a similar sort of thing?
Absolutely. Every frame is priced.
Okay, yeah. And
I've got frames from £15 to $320.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, all lots of different ones.
Absolutely.
Some of the frames that you stock, and I've seen them on people's faces in the networking meetings, are quite unusual.
Yeah.
There's a guy, I don't know, there's a guy that comes into BNI, Danny the Idiot.
Danny the Idiot.
Did you supply those?
I did.
Because they suit him really well.
Square one side round the other.
That's it, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I did. Those were bespoke. And he has two arms on one side.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So you can come in here with a design, and I can have a frame made to the colour and design that you want. Okay, right. Bespoke is actually a growing part of it.
Is it?
People simply don't want to be generic anymore.
Yeah, want to be different.
They want something interesting. So if you want it square one side round the other in bright pink, that isn't a problem.
Okay, that's good to know.
A lot of people don't want to do that, but I actually adopted that frame for Zoom.
Right.
which I don't do anymore because
Okay.
people would talk to me on Zoom and say, "Oh gosh, I just noticed your glasses. They're unusual."
Yeah.
They are. I sold 4 pairs of them.
Did you? I don't think people realise that, and that's a really strong point to get across, that they can bespoke their own glasses and come into you with a design.
They can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would look at the prescription and say, well, certain prescriptions are suitable for certain types of frame.
Yeah.
You don't want to put someone with a prescription of +10 in a pair of rimless. It wouldn't work.
No, because they're going to be real chunky.
They'd be thick in the middle,
Yeah.
and very thin on the edge and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay. What's so what you may have spoken about this earlier, but what motivated you to actually go up on your own as business owners? I'm interested in that.
Well, I worked for corporate for 20 years.
Yeah.
For the Americans, and I enjoyed it. It was great. I travelled all over the world.
Which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I spent a lot of time in the northern countries, particularly Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And after 20 years of doing that, the travelling gets a bit thin.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And that was before 9/11, so actually travelling was pretty good then.
Yeah.
It was much, much easier.
Yeah.
But I was getting a bit fed up with it.
Okay.
And I think I was getting fed up with corporate, and in fairness, I think they were getting a bit fed up with me too.
Yeah.
And I was living in Cornwall, and I rang the local docks. The company down there refurbishes MOD ships and things like that.
Yeah.
And said, what do you do for safety prescription work? And they said, come and see us.
All right.
And it went from there. That was 1995.
Okay.
I got the contract for AMP shipbuilding in Falmouth.
Right.
And then they would say, well, do you do what they call privates? I said, yeah, okay. So they bring the family up to buy their glasses.
Yeah.
And it really went from there.
Okay.
The reason, I think, a lot of people were telling me that they weren't that delighted with the way the high street works because it's dominated by the multiples.
It is, yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to be corporatized, to use an expression. So I learnt that giving personal service and offering something different was actually quite important, and people reacted very positively to that.
Yeah.
It's not a price war. I can't possibly hope to compete with online sales or the cheap offerings of the multiples. It won't work.
No, that's
not where I'm at.
No. So has this business been going since 1995 then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you seen a lot of changes in the industry over those years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I think the independent manufacturing labs have really thinned out.
Yeah.
There used to be an enormous number of over 300 lens manufacturing facilities in the UK. That's heavily reduced now.
What's that?
I think there are only 2 companies left actually grinding glass lenses
Is that? Okay.
because the demand simply isn't there anymore. But again, the multiples probably carry something in excess of 3/4 of the industry.
Right, okay.
And of course, they will centralise all their lens buying and so on. So there is no real room for the independent lab anymore.
Yeah, it's changed.
And those that are left have all got front of shop sales.
Right.
So
High
they
street
may
stuff.
be they might be on an industrial estate.
Okay.
And they would have a shop in front of their lab, and people would visit them.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, I think probably over 90% of people grinding lenses that would happen now, because they can't. Otherwise, they can't make any money.
When you use the term grinding lenses, that's preparing lenses and shaping them into the glasses.
That's actually, because you buy a semi-finished blank with the front side done, and you grind the back, which effectively then produces the power you want.
Right, okay.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Then you fine it and polish it, and then cut it and put it into a frame.
With some tremendous machinery, I would
Exactly.
thought. Yeah,
Exactly.
expensive machinery.
Well, the really expensive is in the anti-reflex coating
Is that?
plant. That's expensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you like about it the most? What do you love most about what you do?
I think people.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the people come in and everyone has a story.
Yes. we like stories.
Everyone's got a requirement, and a lot of people, they're either. I mean, why would they come here?
Yeah.
The only reason they would come here is that for some reason the high street isn't really doing what they really want.
Yeah, yeah.
It does for a lot of people. That's fine. But some people, I have a lot of regular customers, and they come here because I care.
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do. I know a bit about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to put a frame on and say, "Madam, don't do it.
Yeah. Don't buy those.
And some of the wives do permit their husbands to come here unaccompanied because they know I'll send them back with what
they would like.
What they would
They'd
like.
approve of it.
Exactly
basically.
right. Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to. You don't have to worry about your husband going back to something utterly bonkers.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got bonkers, Some people want bonkers, and that's fine. I can do that.
You can do bonkers, yeah. I think that's a real selling point for you, because people can just talk to you, they can deal with you. Yeah. And when you're out and you're talking to businesses or people about the glasses, and they come to you, they're going to see you again at another business meeting, or they're going to see your face again. If they've got any questions, they can ask you. They can pick the phone up to you. Yeah. You're not a multi big company. So
I suppose you probably call it niche.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people would say, well, you're a very niche operator, and that's true.
Yeah.
I don't want a lot of staff. I don't. I just don't need the complication.
No.
So I'd rather put to good use what I can usefully do for the customer, because one of the points of life really is making a difference.
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And people know that what I do is different, and they seem to be very happy with it, which is great.
Okay, that's really cool. What's about going forward? What is there any plans for the business? I know you're very content in what you do.
Absolutely.
You don't need much growth, do you? Just want to continue doing the good service.
No. I analyse. I don't do analysis by paralysis, basically. Yes. But what I do is I have a certain maximum number of pairs that I want to do in the course of a year.
Okay.
And if I reach that number, then I just stop trading until the new financial year.
Right.
Basically.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not there, but I'm probably running at 2/3 of what I could do.
Yeah.
But it's a very good work-life balance.
Yeah, that's important, isn't it?
Yeah,
really important.
Yeah, I don't need to flog myself too hard in that sense, because one isn't getting any younger.
No, that happens to all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, keep what you're doing, Richard, because it's brilliant. I think it's really cool what you do. And I've known you for a few years now. We bump into each other at networking meetings, don't we? And
yeah, we do.
We've always got on really, really well. And it's really cool. So if anyone wants any advice or new lenses or new frames, then please do get in touch with Richard. He's got a great new website, which is, all his information's on there. And of course, we will leave all these details underneath this interview and this podcast. So thanks, Richard. It's really good.
Been a pleasure, Nick.
Yeah, it's really nice to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you all for another podcast soon. Thank you.